Good evening once again. I'm Ali Velshi in for Brian Williams. Day 199 of the Biden administration as the Delta variant races through all 50 states, driving new case numbers upward. The president is signaling a possible shift to a much more aggressive campaign to stop the surge.
I put in place new incentives and requirements to encourage vaccinations. There will be more to come in the days ahead. America can beat the Delta variant, just as we beat the original COVID-19.
Florida is now the undisputed epicenter of this latest outbreak. Today, nearly 23,000 new COVID cases were recorded in the state, the highest single-day case count since the pandemic began last year. Dr. Anthony Fauci says Florida now accounts for a significant portion of the new cases across the country.
Florida itself is about 20% of the infections. So that is really not acceptable. That we shouldn't be looking at that right now, given the fact that we have highly effective vaccines that are safe.
Today, Florida's Republican governor was asked about the case surge in his state.
You have some politicians that say, I am going to eliminate the virus, I will defeat it. Unfortunately, government can't just end it. So we knew this is something that you're going to have to live with.
Something you're going to have to live with. There was some progress reported today by the White House. The nation has passed an important new milestone. 50% of all Americans are now fully vaccinated, and another major corporation has joined the list of those issuing vaccine mandates for employees. United Airlines is requiring its 67,000 U.S. employees to be vaccinated by this fall. It's the first major airline to take this step. Amazon says all workers at its U.S. warehouses will be required to wear masks on the job starting Monday. New Jersey's governor is ordering all students, teachers, staff members, and visitors to wear masks inside of schools once classes begin next month. And a judge in Arkansas today temporarily blocked the state from enforcing its ban on mask mandates. That ruling came after lawmakers had adjourned a special session called by the Arkansas Republican governor. He wanted them to consider rolling back the ban for some schools as COVID cases continue to climb in that state. And then there's this weekend's big event in South Dakota, the popular Sturgis Rally. It's a motorcycle rally in Sturgis, South Dakota. It's expected to draw close to 1 million motorcyclists. Health experts worry the event could make the current Delta outbreak even more severe, especially once those at the rally head back to their home states. Where are we now? We've got the administration pushing a more aggressive agenda to get the vaccine out there. We've got people like Ron DeSantis pushing back, and we've got a Delta variant that continues to spread across this country at great speed.
Yeah, Ali, look, the efforts for vaccination must continue, need to even accelerate as much as possible, mandates, whatever we can do, but that's not going to make a dent in the acceleration of cases we're seeing today. And as you mentioned, Florida and pursuant to that, Texas, we're seeing now hospitals that are so overwhelmed in those two very large populous states that they're having to send patients out of state just simply to get adequate care. So you add all of this up, and the fact that we're starting schools, some have already started, but a majority of schools starting in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and pediatric cases on the rise. This is just a powder keg of sorts. So what we're all kind of bracing for is, when will this descent happen? And we look to other countries, the UK, Netherlands, where they have had steep descents despite Delta kind of taking a hold. And we're hoping we can follow that pattern, but we're looking at least 2 to 4 more weeks of this type of precipitous increase until we crest and then come down. And honestly, Ali, there's going to be a lot of death and hospitalizations along the way, and largely preventable. You mentioned mandates. The government, as we saw with between the White House and Ron DeSantis, they're not looking for direct conversations and confrontations with a lot of these states. However, a number of companies are stepping up. They're saying either their workers have to be mandated or have to be masked, and some are even insisting that customers and clients be vaccinated. Is American business going to put this over the top? Yeah, I think that American business, private sector, kind of say what you will. And by the way, Ali, I can tell you that the conversations between the public and private sectors are absolutely ongoing and will continue, because you bet that people inside the White House are talking to these companies to also express their support, even though they can't actually technically issue a mandate over these private companies. So this is going to be the way. You're seeing teachers unions and others around the country starting to express support for a possible school-based vaccine mandate, kind of if they're available and when they're available for children and when they're fully licensed, not under an emergency authorization. And that resulted, obviously, in a kind of pressure on the FDA, which announced that they would likely have an approval in the next several weeks. So you can see this kind of sequencing. If there's an approval in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then full licensure in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then you have the ability to kind of fully express a mandate, you stitch together, hopefully at close to 80 to 85% of the country either vaccinated or with some degree of immunity by infection. And that might be our best way, Allie, to get to that kind of notion of herd immunity, but we can't get there fast enough. And we got to do it before the Lambda variant, which is worrying a lot of us, can take a foothold after the Delta variant.